Welcome to Life and Time, that's one of my songs. I wrote about my ex-wife. It's called "I See Myself" because I saw myself,
What you look like.
what I look like, and then I didn't like what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I looked at myself.
Mm-hmm. And then what?
Well, there's a great song by Michael Jackson that says, "I'm talking about the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways." Um, I can't remember it, but I remember that part. So it's all about taking responsibility. Don't push the blame on other people. Just take the responsibility.
Does that
Realize.
drive you nuts when people don't take responsibility?
Oh yeah, it does.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, it drives me
Okay,
crazy.
now let me ask you something. You wrote that song. Was there a period of your life where you blamed everyone else for
Oh
what was
yeah,
going on?
yeah. That
Really?
song.
But that's when you came to what? Wrestle that down or wrestle that through?
Well, that was when it really happened. It was one day I was trying to. It was all about my music, and my ex wife. She said, "You don't want to do anything with your music." And meanwhile, well, see, I've been pushing all the time. Been with my friends. My one friend in particular. I would, like I met the guy from Loverboy, Mike Reno,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "Well, send me a tape because I produce on the side." And like I was hanging out with him backstage at Harris Park, and where I met Peter Frampton, and there's some really weird stuff happened. But anyways, Mike Reno had told me, he says, "Yeah, uh, I told him I was a professional singer." And he says, "Do you have any music of yourself?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, send me a demo tape because I produce on the side, and I'd gladly help you out."
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those
Okay, and
opportunities.
so what?
So when I went back to Sarnia, I called up my friend Jeff Black. I said, "Jeff, we really need to get a CD together and make some recordings because Mike Reno said he'd produce it, and I didn't want to miss it." But then every time the thing, Jeff would say, "Yeah, we'll get to it, sure." And he didn't really, he had no intentions of finishing a demo.
Oh,
So
so it got stalled then.
it got solved, and around Christmas time, after the summer, at Christmas time, Con and I were sitting at the computer, and she made that comment. She goes, "You don't really want to make it anyways." I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Well, you're relying on Jeff. You're putting it all on Jeff, and Jeff obviously doesn't really want to record, and he's not serious about the music thing as much as you are." And then I realized at the time that um, the responsibility, I was putting the responsibility on someone else to do it, and I just can't. I realized at that point, one, that all of my relationships, um, like I blamed everything on everybody else, and I put too much responsibility on other people.
Mm.
And then when they wouldn't do it, I just would go with it. And then I realized that, you know what, the only way I, you're gonna get ahead in life is to take responsibility yourself.
Right.
And so I started realizing, I kept thinking back on the girls I was dating, and even my ex-wife, that I didn't love them. I loved them out of dysfunction. And that's why I could be in a room with 100 girls, and immediately I'd pick the one girl that was the most dysfunctional.
Oh.
She would just seek me out.
Oh.
And I had really soft heart back then, and so I was kind of a rescue boat. I was a lifeboat for a lot of people, and I tried to if somebody was having problems, I would try and be there for them.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, I realized that I was an enabler, and
When did you kind of come to the realization that you were blame shifting and that you needed to take the responsibility for yourself?
right when she told me, she said, "don't want to make it music."
So then you were like,
Yeah. Then I went, "Oh my god!" And then it was the same week I wrote that song, "Ain't No Chance." That really, well, they call it the bitter song.
right.
I just felt it was time for me to come out of being the enabler, and stop stop shifting the blame and take responsibility.
Right. So it's not your friend that's stopping this. You can get someone else to help you write this song and send it off to.
And I could have done that, but I put too much stock, and I had to call him the next summer. I kicked him out of my band because he didn't want to do anything, and but I had to call him after that. We started talking again, and I apologized to him. I said, "I'm sorry for putting the responsibility on you."
Yeah, because it was your band.
Yeah, it's my band. So
yeah, the buck stops.
Buck stops here.
That's a hard lesson in life, isn't it?
But
how
it was,
long do
it
you?
was a
How
good
long?
lesson.
Yeah. How long did you live that way? Like that's revealing.
Yeah.
Where
for years.
the buck was someone else. You kept passing the buck.
Yeah.
How
Well,
long?
I was in my 30s when I wrote that song.
30.
So, about 35. So 35 years of dysfunction.
So okay, so you write the song. I'm gonna be responsible. So did you write the demo? Did you send the demo to?
No, I never did.
Oh, how come?
Just
was your choice.
Yeah, my choice. I didn't really want to be a Christian artist. I think we've talked about it before. I have I guess I'm more on the I don't want to get involved in the world side of the music.
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew a lot of people. I've met a lot of famous people.
Those famous people are not writing Christian music.
That's right. Well, I did meet like I did try when I was younger to hook up with Rikua.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rikua.
Because
holy jeez, that's a name I haven't heard in like.
I know. Well, Rikua.
Is he alive?
Yeah, I think he's still alive. He was the bass player for the Outlaws.
Oh yeah.
Ghost Riders. Ghost Riders in the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's but I met him. I was singing actually at Kingdom Bound.
Oh yes.
They had a big tent late at night for all the stars, the Christian music guys, to come in and jam, and this is fun. And I actually just something. My phone's there. Okay, sure. But I was friends with a band called Dreamer
Yeah.
because we're all from the same. Went to Queensway Cathedral like later on in life for the youth group,
Yeah.
and I met them, and they became Dreamer, and they got signed because Dan McCabe sang for them.
Right. Right.
Do you know Dan
Yeah.
McCabe?
Yeah. I've heard of him.
Yeah, he was a singer in the Daniel band.
Yeah.
So they used his influence of the spectrum, all the musical um, all his musical friends, you know, so they got kind of famous.
Yeah.
And I went down to Kingdom Bound to watch them play. And then Dan McCabe, after the show, he just took off his backstage pass and stuff. He says, "Well, I'm going back to Toronto. Do you want this?" So I said, "Sure, thanks, man." Well, Dan, I first met Dan when we played a gig with gig with Dreamer,
Yeah.
and there was Dreamer, King's Ransom, and our band Insane.
Insane.
Yeah, and before before um uh before Dan joined the band, um Bill Davidson, who's my best friend in Toronto, he's the bass player, and so they were gonna get me to sing for, so I was gonna go to the audition on Saturday morning to sing for them, and all of a sudden I got a call from Bill. He goes, "Oh, Jay, I'm certain there's no rehearsal. We found a singer." I go, "What?" Well, Dan McCabe wanted to be the band manager of the band at first, but then he decided to sing for him. So I was there. But they hooked me up with the band Insane from Toronto.
Right.
And so
it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. And so I was singing in Kitchener, and right after the show I went backstage where everybody was hanging out, and Dan McCabe came up to me and he says, "Holy crap." He says, "They should have went with you." And it was a cool
Yeah.
thing, because here he was, "Walk on the water," and songs like that. And here he is telling me about or saying that I should have been the singer.
Right.
So it was a good compliment.
Yeah.
But I forget what we're talking about.
Well, we were talking about kind of the blame shifting.
Oh yeah, so
and then about the band. Like then, I mean, your wife says, your ex-wife Connie says, you don't really want the music. You realize, holy mackerel, maybe I put too much weight on everyone else, and I really need to go for it. But in the end, you chose not to send the demo. But you've got a CD that you've produced.
yeah, later on, because Jeff and I became friends again, like for years, and he's the one that when I first took sick, he organized. He put the CD. We'd recorded that CD about 10 years ago, and I listened to it while I was in the hospital with the stroke, after the fourth stroke. And one day he came up to the hospital with coffee, and I said, "Jeff, I've been listening to that music we recorded over and over, and it's busting my socks off."
Yeah.
Like, the songs became reality after the stroke.
Oh yeah.
So
isn't that a bit of a trip?
Yeah, well, it's weird because when I would listen to it in the hospital, I'd start tearing up over the lyrics. I'm going, "Man, these lyrics are ministering to me. They're my lyrics."
Yeah.
And it kind of had that effect.
What do you think about that? What was that? You think that was God kind of preparing you for this valley, or for this, we're using Christian lingo, this tough, this trial, this tribulation, this,
Yeah, because a song like Gold is perfect.
Yeah. It's kind of like you sat down to listen to your own sermon. Did you respond to the altar call?
Yeah. So, but I'd say that was a real turning point because I remember the day my wife was on the computer looking up places for me to go and play in there, and I couldn't go over there because Jeff was in our band, but he couldn't get over to the States.
Oh.
He had an old charge of marijuana from years ago, so he wasn't allowed to go over the border.
Well, I'm surprised you were able to go over the border with your Weston bakery heist.
Yeah, whenever got caught.
Oh, so you couldn't do. So you didn't get into the touring the states, the church tour, right? Like lots of people, lots of musicians,
No,
like
because
the Phillips family and the Next Gen Phillips family. They travel all through the states and do big churches, make pretty good.
well, I had once we started the band, and I wrote the music, but it wasn't recorded. But there was I'd written enough music that I was ready to go to the States.
Right.
And I had been asked over the States a lot when I was because I had friends in Port Huron, Michigan.
Right.
They had a Bible study, and they'd always buy me chip dip, and so I really wanted to go to the States and to make. I wanted to become a Christian music artist.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't in the cards.
Right.
Stupid thing. But all that I really was driven, despite I think what changed me with it. I was so driven that I was focused on the wrong thing.
Oh.
Like, put blame on this, and to just blame everybody for my. It's called sabotaging your own life.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, self-sabotaging, and that's like with the girls I dated. I spend most of my time either they broke off with me, or all kinds of turmoil.
Oh.
And I spent my whole life in Sarnia. I was known. I'd have then somebody turned around and have a new girlfriend, and then I kept getting dumped.
Oh.
Me get dumped. But it's because I was a lifeboat.
And a self-saboteur.
Self-saboteur, yeah.
A sinking lifeboat.
Sinking
That's
lifeboat.
that's not very good, guy.
That's what it was. So, anyways, I've had a lot of turmoil.
Yeah, but then I
got sick of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I said there ain't no chance. That was the song that I finally said, forget it, I'm taking the world by the gonads. But I was that video was aggressive. It was a really well done video.
Oh, because I remember you showing me the
with boxing.
Yeah, and is that on YouTube?
Yep.
Yeah, you should put a link to it so that when if you want, we'll put a link below this video so you can watch Jay take the world by the horns, the bull by the horns.
Or at least give some bull. No, but it was
aggressive, but it was
aggressive, but it was out of my anger towards myself.
Right.
And what it was is I realized, like, I used the wedding rings. I dropped her wedding rings. It was shot after she had the affair on me. So I went to the house and I stole her wedding rings. And then I dropped them in muddy water. just to symbolize this murder shit.
Ah.
Um, like, it was a horrible marriage.
Right. But this song, let's stay on point. This song was about you kind of
Taking back my life
yeah.
and stopping a sucker by, like, it was out of my own compassion. That's because I remember my ex-wife. She used to cry when I said I can't do this. Before we were married, I said this is wrong, and she would cry and emotional emotional manipulation, and I was a sucker because I actually the time at the time we got together, it was bad, and then I had the pastor from the church and a friend of mine, Dave Jubenville. They uh, met with me and they told me, because they said get away from her
Mm.
because they knew she was bad news.
But
she was a daughter of one of the leaders in the church.
yeah, but we're on what responsibility of that was yours? That's not.
Well, that's what came. So they came into my house. They asked me to end it, so I did. So I called her, and she cried, and she says, "Oh, don't leave me, please, don't leave, please, don't leave me." And so I said, "Okay," because I was an idiot. So up until that "Ain't No Chance" song, I wasn't an idiot anymore, and I could recognize red flags, and so I say it was a good thing. Like I need to go through that
Yeah, in order to own your own.
to own my own stuff, and I was a guy that um, went in front of the church and apologized to the church for my actions, and it was crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So where does this? So where does this? We've walked down the lane quite a few miles from the backstage pass that what's his name gave you. Hey, you want this backstage pass at Kingdom Bound? And so you decide. So in a sense, though, you never cut the album and sent it to get produced by who was that again?
Mike Reno.
Mike Reno. But you nonetheless, you and this guy you reconciled with
Yep.
make your CD. And how many copies of your CD would you say you've given away?
Oh,
Yeah.
he sent up a box.
Right. How many do you think? How many's in a box? Guesstimate.
All those rolls. He's still got 14 boxes.
14?
Yeah. So when he said he's going to come up sometime.
Yeah.
But he never did.
But he still might. You still have a few discs. How many discs do you have left here?
I have about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But next time he comes up, he's going to bring another box.
Yeah.
Well, they're just taking up room in his house.
Yeah. You should get a couple of boxes. Because that's what I'm saying. You're giving them away, so it's not as though. So you kind of. It was one of those occasions where I'm not going to let someone else determine my destiny. I'm going to determine my destiny, right? And not only that, the motivation for doing it was ministering to you. It became real to you because of everything you were going through, and even though that whole notion of it, you're not selling them, you're giving them away. Why? Because you believe what?
Well, I gave him. Well, he first sold them a pre-sale on the internet, and because when I first took out, everybody wanted one. But I don't. When I came up here with the box, I give all my PSWs
Yeah.
and people in the hospital, because not for my sake, because I really wanted them to hear the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I write, I don't. I'm just very blunt in my own special way,
Mm-hmm.
and like I used to get uh, in the song. Yeah, I know the one on "Oh Your Truth Sets Me Free." Um, I basically I say, don't put that crap on me. Like I'm very.
Yeah.
It's in context with the song, but I can't even think of it now. But I know I say, don't put that crap on me, like saying the devil.
Yeah.
You know.
That's not who I am.
Yeah.
Or
But I'm very realistic. My writing. I actually was a pretty good writer.
yeah.
So that's why I can't. People say, "Oh, how much do I owe you?" I just nothing.
Mm.
Like,
It's good. It's good. It's you doing. It's kind of you doing what what the Connie's challenge to you was. Hey, do you really want to do this or not?
yeah.
And not only did you prove that you did, you made a CD, and you made a CD despite the stroke.
Well, the other big thing is I've reconciled with Connie over the years.
Yeah.
The last 4 years.
Yeah.
Like I'm still. When I say reconcile, it means that I can call her and she'll ask how I am, because my daughter lives there.
Yeah.
And my daughter tells me her mom always talks about me.
Yeah.
Just different things.
That's good.
And so basically, I'm at peace that way.
Mm-hmm.
But the hard thing for me is, I think the hardest thing for me, and not just with Connie, but any situation, is the memories.
Yeah.
Like I hold on to things.
Yeah.
Because my heart is so tender.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the world was pretty big on the outside before.
Yeah, now it's small.
But the world is big on the inside now. There's lots of thinking. There's lots of reflecting. There's lots of remembering. That's what this is about, right? This whole Tales of Jay Delkey episode 12. It's just another kind of journey down memory lane, and we go wherever it kind of takes you, and there's reflection there.
Well, actually, I need you, while you're in this position, turn the camera around. My daughter's, she keeps saying, "Are you gonna show me them?"
Okay, here we go. Oh, I gotta navigate.
This is Dave.
All right.
Chappy Dave. Here we go.
Here I am. Hello.
Say hi, Montana.
Hi, Montana. Pleased to meet you.
There you go, punk. I did it, so leave me alone.
All right. Well, we know what? We're 29 minutes.
Oh, man.
So let's sign off. Listen, if you were with Jay at Kingdom Bound, why don't you say hi to him? If you anything in this story kind of sparks a memory, or maybe you have a story of kind of finally not blame shifting and taking some responsibility. You have a story like that. That's a kind of you can relate to that. Why don't you send Jay a message?
Yeah, why don't you please send Jay a message?
Yeah, Jay wants a message.
A message.
Just send Jay a message.
It's
All
really
right.
lonely up here in Chelmsford, Ontario.
Oh, good. You called it Chelmsford. Good for you. Let's sign off.
Well, this has been Jay Dalkey
and David Long.
And David Long in the tales of the one Jay Dalkey.
That's good. You signing out?
Yep.
This crazy life I live, well, I see myself losing what I can. Yeah, I see myself losing.
So long.
Things started